G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome to vlog number 24. Same normal thing, 2-2 game, Adelaide Casino, but we've got a few hand reviews there. We'll check those out. Getting a bit behind with my vlogs. Had a big weekend last weekend. It was my birthday Friday. 42 years of age. And a few of us stayed down there, ended up going to the casino, played a bit of poker later in the night, a little bit of a drunk session, so a bit of a no-no there. I never do that, but it was my birthday and it just seemed to happen. And then I did a double header, went back the next night too, stayed down, so 2 nights in a row. First time I've done that with the vlog. So after our hand reviews for this vlog, we're going to shoot off, have a quick look at the new Tailem Bend Motorsports Park, which is the big multi-million-dollar car racing track just been built, one of the best in Australia at the moment. And then after that, a quick video I've already done of when we went on our Easter trip up to Blanchetown, up the river. Group of about 20 of us went up there and camped on the river. So did a bit of aerial view in there with my drone. So stick around, check it out, and hope you enjoy this one. Catch you guys later. So doing the same old walk as usual. It should be a good night tonight. Port Adelaide football team played at the Adelaide Oval, which is only about 400 metres from the casino. So they get probably around 40,000 people there. So hopefully the poker room will be busy tonight. We'll find out in about 5 minutes.
Vicky's in the corner with the black coat on, running from a bad home with some cat inside. Where'd you find her?
So on the waiting list, guys, 3 tables going. It should be some more dealers starting at about 8:30, so I reckon we'll get a couple more tables going then, but just sit around and have a bit of a look for a while. Catch you with a half-time run-through, if I remember. G'day guys, how's it going? It's half-time break, so we'll do a bit of a rundown. Playing 2-2, not a bad table, pretty quiet, so nothing too crazy going on. Up about $140 at the moment, but a couple of Asians have just sat down. When they sit down, it usually livens the game up a bit, but yeah, nice little game, going okay so far. I'll get back to you a bit later on.
Jim's gonna go, alright? I'll see just to cash now.
You would as well. Where's my phone call?
The phone call is not going to
G'day guys, that's the end of the night. We're wrapping it up a little bit early. Had a pretty good run. In for 300 and out for $707. A little look at the stack there, and yeah, nice night. Went up and down a little bit, but never really in much trouble. Did get back to even at one stage there. Ran a bit card dead, and then all of a sudden we started getting some cards, and the game also livened up a bit with a few Asian guys coming in and a couple of drunk guys, so good game in the end. And that's about it. Then we're good to get home early. Tomorrow we've got the new multi-million-dollar racetrack up at Tailem Bend, the newest racetrack, car racing track and motorbike racing track in Australia, and my mate's got a member there and members have got a ride day tomorrow, so he can take his car out and get a few laps. So I'm going out in the car with him. Probably video a bit of it, won't be that exciting, but yeah, go for a few laps with him. I think he's picked me up at midday, so I should be home in about an hour and a half, get some sleep. See you tomorrow. G'day guys, how's it going? Just sitting in the back of the van here. We're going to catch up with these hand reviews. This was a Saturday night, so I got my favourite seat, number 6. I usually like to try and get seat 6, seat 4. I tend to be able to see what's happening from those positions better, so they're my favourite ones if I can get it. With the table, on this night, seats 2 and 3 were two sort of semi-regs, I suppose, real tight players, both a bit elderly, and yeah, usually if they're playing they've usually got something pretty good. I had the guy in seat 4 was a very quiet Asian guy, was okay but didn't really know what he was doing, and in the first hand review I was up against him. A bit later on in the night we get seats 1 and 9, two Chinese guys come in. The one in seat 9 had a lot of trouble speaking English and understanding the dealers. They got warned for not speaking English. His mate in seat 1 was helping him out. Then the pit boss came across and gave him a warning. Had to speak English or else they had to leave the table. Not too sure if that's a rule in a lot of the other casinos overseas or not, but it is here in Adelaide. It was real weird because as soon as he got warned that he'd be off the table, he seemed to know what he was doing, so yeah, a bit funny there. The guy on seat 1 though was probably the better of the two players, definitely. It was a full ring game as usual, but I just fill in a few players that were playing so that the table doesn't look too crowded when we're doing the hand reviews. So with this first hand, I'm out in middle position. Get a pretty handy couple of cards here with the Ace King, and I raise it up to 18. It folds, gets around to under the gun +1, who calls. Flop comes 10, King 8. It's a pretty handy flop for me. All of a sudden he comes out and bets $40. I think I've got to be leading here, so I'll give it a raise just to see what's happening. He didn't re-raise, so I'm pretty sure he hadn't got trips or anything. 3 comes, he decides to check it. I didn't think that was much help for him, so bet 55, he calls. Last card, again, didn't seem to help anyone. He checked, so I went for the value bet here of $60. He called and was all in, and that was the end of that. Nice little pot to get me going. Something I didn't mention in the first hand, my second hand of the night I got dealt aces and had a win only of $35. Early in the night, as I say, everyone plays pretty tight with the tables only opening at 7 o'clock at night, so they tend to be a bit tight for the first hour or so. But yeah, got me aces probably a bit early before it all loosened up a bit, but still won with them, 135, so happy with that. This next hand, I get in a bit of a hand with the Asian guy I was telling you about, the one in seat 1 who was probably the better poker player out of the two of them. In this hand, this is probably about the 5th or 6th hand he'd played. He'd played a lot of hands and he was betting all the way through. He seemed to always raise it around $15 and then bet, and he went about 4 or 5 hands without anyone looking at him. He won each hand, so I sort of was determined if I got half a decent hand I was going to go all the way through with him and see what he was playing. So with this hand, I get dealt Jack 10 and the cutoff. He's under the gun and bet the 15. Couple of us called and we get to see the flop. Flop was okay for me. I get second pair. The Asian guy goes again, bets. Next guy folds. I call the 35. I'm going to hang in. I'm thinking I might be leading here. 7 comes, so no change. This time he bets 40. I hang in again, call. Last card is a 4 of hearts, and he doesn't up the bet that much, only 45, so I call, and he had it. He had the queen, so yeah, it didn't really go how I was hoping it would go. So with this next hand, I'm in middle position and I get dealt a pair of 7s. I just flat call here, a few players behind me, so I thought I'd just call and hopefully see it and get to see a flop. I've got about 6 runners in this hand, and I get a pretty handy flop when we flop a 7. So it ends up checking around to me. I put in a bet of 35, I think it was. 35, so solid bet. Could have been more, not too sure, but it folds back around to under the gun +1, and he calls. Next card doesn't seem to be helping anyone very much, so checks to me. This time I bet 45, and I get the same guy calling again. Last card comes down the Jack of Hearts, and all of a sudden he just donk bets 55. I didn't really know what to do there. Well, obviously I was going to call him the 3 7s. I was thinking he might have made the flush or something. As you can see here, he jammed the straight. Thinking it's probably a bit my fault there. I think my turn bet was way too small. Probably in a situation like that, I probably should have been making them pay. Should have been more in up around the 70, 80, 90, $100 mark even. And there's a fair chance it probably would have got rid of him then. So I'm going to blame that one on me. But he did get a bit lucky, and we end up losing it. But it's the way it goes sometimes, but probably a bit my fault there. So with this next hand, I'm in the middle position again. I'm up against a bloke to my left who'd only been there for about 15 minutes, playing a bit loose. He seemed to not really knowing what he was doing. I just flat call with me 8-10 suited. I was a little bit up this stage and on a bit of a run, so I thought we'd go again. He raised it. I decided to call the extra 15, and we get to see the flop. Not a bad flop for me, leaves me up and down straight. King was probably the only good thing for him, so yeah, I think I'm probably looking okay at this stage if I can improve. He puts a bet in again, I call, and on the turn we jam our straight. I check it knowing he's probably going to bet again. He goes to 45. I raise it to 100, and he tanked a bit, then called. Last card, 6, no help. I've got this one. I put in a bet of 155, hoping he might call. He did go in the tank for a little while, but then eventually decided to fold, so ended up winning a nice little pot there. So this next hand, probably not the biggest pot of the night, but probably one of the more interesting hands that I played. I was in the hijack position, and I get dealt a nice ace-king. Ends up, get a couple of flat callers around to me for the $2, and gets to me. I raise it up to 17, which is probably a slightly bigger raise than what had been going on the table. A lot of them were $12, $8, like that, around that mark. We ended up getting about 4 other callers, so 5 of us into the pot, and ends up being a handy flop for me. I end up flopping top pair and need queen for a gutser. Checks around to me. Actually, it didn't check around to me. The guy in seat 2, the Aussie guy who plays real tight, didn't see him win a pot hardly all night, He was probably in for a couple of hundred, 250 or so, and his money had just been whittling down. He was getting a bit fed up. All of a sudden he just goes all in. The quiet Asian guy in seat 4 called. So with that, I try to isolate, and I put in a bit of a raise here. Put it up to $110. Next guy folds. The Chinese guy that could hardly speak English, he all of a sudden goes all in. It's the main pot he's played all night, and also the quiet Asian in seat 4 end up calling 8. Didn't think it was going to help anyone. Checks to me, so I put in a bet of 85. The quiet Asian guy again, he calls. I think I'm pretty well leading here when the 10 comes. At this stage, before the flop, the guy in seat 2, he's already chucked his all-in cards in, and he's gone for the night. He's walked off. So I was glad to see him go for that, the first part of the pot, because I was thinking with him all in, he could have jacks, kings, something like that, queens. So he was out of it. But the quiet guy, Asian guy, called. Now, I probably played it a bit soft here. He ends up checking, and I probably should have gone for a value bet, but I'm just thinking there's too many options out there for him. Whether he had 2 pair, something like that, even though 2 pairs not going to hurt me because I've got aces, the top pair, so don't really know why I checked. It was probably a silly check, and would have been better to put a value bet in and might have got a bit more out of him. As it was, he ended up turning over ace-9, so he got a bit excited with his aces, and the other guy had king-jack, so I ended up getting the lot. So nice little pot there of $279.
That what matters if the heart unreserved. I'm irrational and rarely ever start. But since the world's dark and often inhumane, relish our condition, come drinking in the rain. Cause you remember when, after Paris, we all decided the best way to fight it was drink wine, dance, heal and pray, and make love that lasts with a vengeance. So you can join the cowards all aboard the outrage train. You can stay afraid, or slit the throat of fear and be brave, and scratch a little edge till you're moving like a motherfucker up in this bitch. You wanted to fight for a cause, then go out and fall in love. Don't stop believing in truth and grace and in grief. You want someone to want you for who you are. I want someone to try let me down, easy, easy tonight, easy, easy tonight. So look at me and tell me what I already know, that I trial and I fail, and it's good to let it go. Sometimes life sucks, everything is lame,